Hey guys, so I'm going to be doing like a quick review of some of the things that the Cool Painter has to offer. Um, and I have a checklist actually right over here of things that I want to go over as far as how I think this could be a little better. Now, let me start by saying this is awesome. This is a great tool. I love playing with it. I love pretty much everything about it so far, and I know that they're working on making it better, and I can't wait to see what they do. So the first thing I wanted to go over, well, first of all, let me change the background because to me this is a little too dreary. So I'm going to go over here, right? I'm going to go to settings and then right here, right? Ooh, that's a little bright. That's way too bright. All right, maybe that's the best option. I haven't played around with the background before. I just know that this dark blue is not kind of what I would want to work with, but I don't really like anything else. So I guess I'll keep it. I'll keep it on whatever. It's fine. Whatever. Okay. So one of the first things that I want to talk about is orientation matters. So where you start drawing, like if I do this, and then I move it and put it over here, okay. What it's seeing is when I restart when I save this as a what is it called? As a scene, right? That's what you save it as. Save it as, I guess, just a scene. I think that's what it saves it as. When it comes back in, when the scene reloads, it's going to put this right back where it started. Okay. So how I found that out is, let me go back to here and undo that. Is I realized that I wanted to make a tree, and doing this created a arc. Okay. So I wanted to just do this because I felt like I could get a straighter line this way. Okay, and then I would just do that and rotate it, and then just keep going like that all the way around until I had a nice sphere. Oops, and that's rotating with me. And then I saved it, and when I came back to it, I had made it upright and stuff, and when I came back to it, it was right there again. So orientation matters. If you're going to make a ground, make sure that it's level here and that the trees come up, because otherwise you're going to have to reset it every time you do it. Erase all that. Okay, so that was the first thing. Come here. Orientation. Next thing is creating assets. So you can create scenes, right? So you can, draw out everything that you want, and then save that. But you cannot create assets. So like, let's say I made a tree, and I did, and I saved it. I could only save it as a scene, which means that if I reload it, it's not going to reload into what I'm working on. It's going to reload it as its own separate thing, and what I was working on is trashed. It's just gone. Okay? So I wish there was a way to create assets. This way, I can put in a tree, or I can work on a bush completely separate from my scene and then import that bush into the landscape. That would be cool. Smoothing tools. So as it is, and I'm going to show you, well, there's a video I showed you of my tree, but what do I want? Basically, let me go this way, right? I have this over here becoming my tree, and you could see that it's all, I get what they're going for. It's a painting application, which means that it looks like paint strokes, but I wish that there was like a smoothing tool, so that if I get a bunch of these things kind of like this, I could just smooth them down, because what ended up happening when I made my first tree is I did this, right, and then I wanted to extend it. Let's say that these are the roots here. So let's flip this around so that I'm working this way. I came up like this and like that, but it meant that right here, it was an obvious kind of line, like I had stopped painting here and then continued painting there. And I kind of wanted to get rid of that, so I had to do like one of these things where I came up that way and up, and it ended up being very clustered. And so I think that if it had a smoothing tool, granted, it would change from Cool Painter to Cool Sculptor, but you get what I'm saying. I think that the painting application still works. What happened to my checklist? There it is. Okay, so let's go ahead and just erase all that. Another thing that I wanted to talk about was quick tools. Let's see. That's upside down. So let's see. Smoothing tools. Face mirroring. Let's get to that in a bit. Quick selects. Okay. So I wish there was a way to get to the erase tool quicker. I mean, I know that when you're in paint mode, let's get into paint mode, I can draw a line and then just hit the, as you can see, X button, and that undoes it. I would like it if, you know, like let's say I hold down the X button, you know, and then hit trigger, I could redo something. So let's say I do that, erase it, and then hold down the X button and hit the trigger button, right? And instead of painting, it would redo the last thing that I did, okay? That'd be cool, because then I could say, do I like this line? Let me get rid of it, and then bring it back in, you know. Yes, I do like it, I can keep it, you know, as opposed to going through the menu to hit the redo button. And the same thing with like brushes. If I want like different brushes, you know, like I want to swap between the plane and the outline really quickly, or even the plane and the water, whatever, you know, I could hold down the triangle button and then hit the trigger button, and that switches it. Okay. So that's that. Same thing with paint. Just hold down the circle button, hit the trigger button, and, you know, I have two options, you know, so it can go A or B, and I could quickly decide on that and redo I said. So let's cross these off. That's done, that's done, that's done, that's done, and that's done, right? Layers. That's done. Oh, no, that's not done. See? Erase. Layers. Just like Photoshop, I kind of wish that there was layers, but I could also see it like if I can create assets, I don't need layers, because I'll work on a single asset before I put it in, right? And I'd prefer that over layers, because, you know, I don't really need to draw this and then create a new layer to start doing this. I really don't need that. But I would like to work on a very specific thing without, you know, having to worry about the rest of the scene that I'm working on. You know, and I don't know, maybe it's counterintuitive to what they're going for as far as this is a painting program, but maybe not. So let's get rid of that. Textures. So right now, we only have these over here. We have the diffuse, which is, you know, it's just your basic, you know, no shiny, right? We have your specular, which is shiny. That doesn't really look very different. And then self-illuminating, which should glow. There you go. Right, so when you rotate these, you know, there you go. So see how the specular shines in the light, and the diffuse doesn't, and the glow has its own, you know, self-illumination rather has its own it creates its own light source. Geez, Nick, with the words. I kind of wish they had more. You know, like if I wanted to create a sandy beach, you know, I wish it had like a nice rough texture to go off of. And then some other ones. Another thing that I wanted to talk about while I'm on brushes is I don't ever like lightly hold it and pull, because as I'm pulling, you know, you could see that it gets thicker and thinner. You know, so what I do is I just hold down and bam, and now I have a nice solid thickness. You know, a non-varying thickness. So this, to me, doesn't really, I don't like this. If I wanted a thicker brush, I wish I could just choose a thicker brush. See, I tried to keep it thin, it gets big. So I kind of wish that I could just automatically choose how thick I want it. You know, even if it's like, what is it? When you're in the menu to open a file, let's say, right? You see down here, the circle button is down and the X button is up. I can choose between them. You know, I kind of wish I had something like that for brushes. So let's back out of that. Textures is done. Oops, I'm still in illumination, so let's go back to specular, because I like the shiny. Choosing a start. So that went with orientation. I should have brought them up together, and I'm sorry I didn't. But choosing a start point means, like, let's say this is my scene here, okay, and this is how I started it, right? And then I kind of bring up something over here, and I'm working on this part over here. You know, when I restart it, when I save and then bring it back in the next day, it's going to start over here again instead of over here. So every time I want to go back over here, I have to move into this area and then just start painting over here, okay? I kind of wish that I can be like, you know, save, choose your start point, yes, then it'll start there, and I don't have to worry about, you know, constantly moving things around. So let's cross those off. I did orientation. Creating assets I'd prefer over layers. Smoothing tools I talked about. Face mirroring. So as it is now, this has a symmetry tool, right? And it creates this nice cool plane that I can move around, right? Put it over there. I don't know why, but whatever. Oh, there you go. I grabbed it by itself. And I could do like one of these things, right? And now, when I paint over here, it doubles on the other side. I made a heart. Yay! Right? I kind of wish that, you know, like if I'm staying this way and I do like face mode, it just automatically puts the plane right here. So that whatever I do, it kind of follows through on the other side, you know? Now, the problem with that, I know, is if I do this... Oops, I grabbed the whole scene and not... Whatever. If I do this, I can... You know, I can move it so it's like facing me this way, and now it's doing it on the other side, you see? And I get that that might be a problem, you know, that doesn't go with what I'm saying as far as this, but just having this, you know, it makes it so much easier than having to pull in the plane, line it up. Let me undo all that. Pulling the plane, lining it up so that it kind of looks as close to, you know, straight as possible. You know, it just takes away a lot of the guesswork, and I think that's kind of important. And they could do it where, you know, just one of these planes just happens to be right here if you so choose, and then you can work on it this way. So let's get out of that. Okay. So I do wish for that. Let's cross that guy off. New brushes. As I think I went over that. Didn't I go over that? Right now it's only got these three, and I kind of wish for like something textured. I kind of wish for something like a point. So on my tree, when I made my tree, okay, I need to go over here. How I went about doing the canopy was I kind of did like one of these things, you know, like that. Kind of tried to make a point at the end, you know, and then I just kind of folded them over on itself so that it looked like kind of like that from the bottom. I got out of my camera. You see? So it kind of looks like leaves, but it doesn't really. So having something that like starts off on a point, like if the tip of this was a point, right? And then as I kind of, see, I can't do it with this, but as I went like this, it would just kind of come to a point. You know, this way making leaves would be kind of a little bit easier. But yeah. So let's get rid of all those. I should just use the erase tool. But the reason I don't use the erase tool is because it's so difficult to get to. I have to go here, erase, and then go back. You know, it's kind of tedious. It'd be nice if I just, you know, was able to hold down a button, hit a trigger, and then that's the erase. So let's go back to my brown or red. Was I using red or brown? I think that's red. I think it's brown. Okay. So let's see, that's new brushes. Self-illumination brightness. So I can, here's the self-illumination, right? Let's change colors. I'm not 100% fluid with all the controls yet, so bear with me. But like, I wish I could choose how bright this is. You know, like maybe it's a dull glow, but it's still there, right? So if I go to blue and do like a nice dull kind of glow, see how bright that is? Maybe I just want like a little will-o'-the-wisp kind of floating around. It'd be cool to control how bright that is. Maybe I want it to be the sun, in which case rays should be coming off. That would be awesome too. You know, so choosing a brightness would be so awesome. And then rain. So that's one of the last things up here. Rain. I don't understand why they don't have a rain. If I come over here to this one, the particles, right? They have sparkles which shoot up. Oh, you can't see my hand. I keep doing that. I'm trying to show you with my hands, talk with my hands. But they shoot up, you know, and actually I could just show you. Let's get a nice color. What do you think? There you go. So if I just do this, right? They shoot up and there you go. They explode and that's sparkles. Kind of makes sense, right? And they have fire. Fire I found works best with the orange. I think fire looks most like fire with the orange. Okay. They have snow, which I guess should be white. All right. I'll just do that. There you go. And they have dust. Dust is kind of funny because it fills the entire area. Right. So if I just do this, you see it all over the place, and I keep doing that and make it more. It's like dust floating around all over the place. I kind of wish I can contain that a little bit more. Like if I zoom out, which is there and then there. Oop. Okay, zoom out, please. Thank you. Keep zooming out. Keep zooming out. You could see that, oh no, it doesn't go everywhere. I thought it did. But it takes up a big area. I wish I could really condense how far the dust goes. Okay, so when I'm in the move tool, I hit X and I put everything right in front of me, and now I kind of lost everything. Okay, here we go. I wrote really big before, so okay, come on. Go smaller. Go smaller. Okay. And the last thing is music. Now, I'm actually fine with how I go about music. I have Spotify on my PS4, so I just, load up Spotify and play that. And then it's worked perfectly. I can't play any of it now because it's YouTube, and if I play a song that people recognize, they'll be like, "Oh, you can't do that," or whatever. And I haven't used, I didn't put any MP3s into the USB that I have. I bought a 200 gig USB drive, or micro USB. Hold on. I bought a 200 gig micro SD card, and then have a USB reader that I put that into. So now I have a 200 gig USB drive, essentially. It cost me like 60 or 70 bucks, the 200 gig thing on Amazon, and I was fine paying for it because I use those all the time. I haven't put any music onto it, so if you go to here, and then it should be like load music, right? Load from the USB. Oh no, that's not it. How do I get to the music? Options? Oh yeah, there it is. Options. Load music, music on off, etc. Right? Tutorial on off, grid on, and that's the credits. So if I go over here, I can load music, but I don't have anything saved, and Spotify works fine for me. I would recommend it. So that's kind of it. That's kind of the gist of all of this. A lot of great tools. You could do a lot with it. Hold on, let me clear out this scene because it's getting a little hard to look at. Yes, and I went over everything right. Rain, self-illumination. Yep. Okay, so that's all gone. And it's Cool Painter. It's fun. It's very simple to get a hold of. To get a handle on. I mean, it takes you a minute to really adjust your eyes to seeing the paints in 3D, right? Just like making this cylinder. I know that you can make shapes and that kind of helps, but to get the feel of it, I think I like the paint strokes more. Okay, this is getting a little hard because it's bright and I'm drawing over white and you can't see, but there you go. Ta-da! So let me open up a scene, actually. Let me go back here, open up a scene, right? And I think I want that one, right? I think the other one is just without the... See, so I had started this way, and now my tree is on its side. Ta-da! There's my tree. And I'm going to put it right there. See, for me, my floor is more like right over here. So I kind of want to keep it right there, and I'm going to make it grow. Oops, other way, please. Other way. There you go. See, now I dropped it down a bit. Let me put it back where my feet are. Alright, well, that's a lot lower than my feet, but you get the point. You see how my paint strokes kind of look like leaves, but not really? I did a lot over there. Oh, and that's another thing. This thing will mess your arm up. You're just sitting there, paint stroke, paint stroke, paint stroke, paint stroke, and it gets a little tiring. But yeah, one of the cool things that I did... Oops. Come on. Let me just hit X. There you go. It's right back where it was. One of the cool things that I did was, not on this one, but on a part that I threw out, was I went here and I went to the Snowflakes, right? And I chose, I think, pink or yellow. I think it was yellow, actually. Okay. Thank you. You can go away now. So what you have to do, because everything scales, is I have to come over here and I have to make this really big. Okay? Really big. Okay, and then I went over here, and then I just did like one of these things, right? You could see the snow. I'm going to do a lot of it. Just keep going right there. Okay, and then let's go to the other side. Let's monkey on over here. Yeah, there we go. Okay, we'll come right over here, and we'll do the same thing. We'll just put some snowflakes all around here. And I know what you're wondering. You're like, why are you putting snowflakes there, and why are they yellow? You should never trust yellow snow, right? But, okay. Okay, come on. Come on. I think having another move controller would help too, just for all of the other things that you could do potentially with this, especially moving, because I mean I know I could zoom out and then zoom back in, but okay, let's sprinkle some here. Okay, that should be good to get the general idea of what I'm trying to do. And then actually I'll just hit X, and then we'll put this here. And now I have like little lightning bugs up there, or like, you know, cool glowing features. And it looks better when it's bigger. There you go. Right? Yeah. I mean, I didn't do a great job with it here. I did it better last time, but you know, this stuff sprinkles down and looks pretty cool. Okay, so that's kind of it. That's everything that I wanted to go over, and try and help you acclimate to using. Why am I staring at this? I want to close all this. Okay, so reset. The scene will be completely erased, but I saved it, so it should be fine. Plus, I know how to make another one. So that's it. That's Cool Painter. Again, I do wish I could have the assets because, like, let's just say, hypothetically, I wanted to remake the overworld map for Legend of Zelda 2. What is it? Link's Awakening, I think is the subtitle. It's been a long time since I played that. I kind of wish, you know, I could make this area here and then import this area here and then, you know, work on a different scene altogether and import this area. You know, just importing not just scenes, but assets, like fully made assets, or better yet, like, oh shoot, I guess I'm not done. If I load that, yes, right, okay. If I wanted to make like a brownie village, right? If I'm, you know, going for like a nice little, kind of, let's go dark here. Let's go you, and bring you to dark, okay. And I wanted to just kind of like make like a... Oh, that's not dark enough. Let's go darker. Okay. And I just kind of wanted to make like a little, you know, tree, acorn house thing. Oops, that's not good. Okay. You know, and I just kind of did like one of those things, and maybe it's got like branches or something kind of sticking out. I don't know how to do branches. You know, there's a dome, whatever. Okay, and then there's like a stairway here leading up to it, you know, all the way down, you know, and just make like a little brownie village area, maybe another tree here, and then another thing. Okay, you understand. It's one of those just over here. You know, if I wanted to make like this huge scene and then bring it into another scene that I'm doing, I'd like to do that. You know, make this entire scene an asset and then just plug it into the overworld map that I'm creating, you know, and that would be cool. All right, so that's it. That's it. I'm done. I'm done with everything. I went through my checklist of things that I wanted to talk about. I showed you a lot of the cool things. I didn't get into shapes. You know, you have this organic kind of shape and then the flat organic shape, and which just means, you know, you draw like an outline and it creates it. You have all these other things here. I don't really use those. I mean, I'll probably use them when I want to create, you know, something more complex, you know, like how they taught you how to draw in like middle school. You know, you'd start off with a circle and then you draw a kind of cone on its face and now you have a horse or something, you know. I haven't, you know, it just kind of, hold on, I can't think straight. I'm not going to use those unless I have something complex, is what I'm saying. This stuff over here, you have fog. I didn't really use fog, but you know, it's just fog. You just kind of plug it in. It's fine. It's fog. Wrong one. And then you have other things. You can draw like shapes. Here's a bunch of shapes. I guess I could use that for leaves, I guess. Look, I'm making little tiny ones. That's interesting. But, you know, triangles aren't the same as leaves. So maybe they'll come up with some better... I forget what it's called in Photoshop. What that effect is called. Multiple leaves. You know, I wish they gave you more options. And maybe they will. You know, I hear there's plenty of updates coming. So I have that to look forward to. Let me delete all this. Okay, so that's it. That's it. I'm done. I know this is the third time I've said that, but seriously, my throat's a little sore from talking. Plus, I was belting lyrics on the way home from some songs because I was stuck in traffic. So there you go. That's Cool Painter. It is really fun. You could see a lot of things that they do. The coolpainter.com, and that's Cool Painter without the E at the end of it. So it's COOLPAINT instead of E, just R. Hold on. Let me write it out. How about that? So it's Cool Paint, no E, .com. I just hit my screen there. There you go. Just put that over there. Ta-da. Okay, well, whatever. That site, they say that you could download scenes and things, or you upload scenes even. It's not ready yet. It's still under construction. So I wanted to see what other people were doing, but it's not ready yet. But there's a lot you can do. This is a very fully functional tool. It's really fun. I made a tree that I'm really proud of. You can do a lot. I'm looking forward to more from this, and I'm going to get started on some scenes and hopefully start saving them. I can save them as assets soon. That'd be awesome. All right, guys, so that's it. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. And this is it. This is the last time I say bye. So bye.